A few weeks ago, I was having a dinner at a friend's place. He made a really nice dinner and then he was like, okay, let's eat because that's what he always does. He either eats at the kitchen counter or at his work desk. So we were standing in front of the kitchen counter about to eat and I was like, why are we eating here? You have a really nice dining table, we can eat there. The problem was that the dining table was completely covered with clutter. Mail, random things, stuff he wasn't even using. So we cleared everything off, cleaned the table. I'll show you how it was before and then how we transform it. I set the table with some nice tableware, putting just a little bit of effort, and honestly the result was so much better. He enjoyed the dinner more, I enjoyed the dinner more, and I think he realized that he doesn't have to eat at the kitchen counter all the time. There are other ways to live. That's what gave me the idea for this video. Talking about eating nooks, why they matter, and how you can create one. So, this is how he was eating before, and this is what our table looked like that night. Now you might be wondering, why does where you eat even matter? First of all, I think it encourages slower meals. I'm not nutrition professional or anything like that, but I know eating slowly is important. And I really feel like sitting in a relaxing environment naturally makes you slow down. It also makes everything nicer. The meal feels nicer. Your home feels more lived in. It creates a place where people naturally gather and you actually use your home instead of just passing through it. Even if you're just having a simple omelette for dinner, it's much nicer to eat in a dedicated eating nook than standing at the counter or eating in front of TV. That's why I wanted to make this video. When I was planning it, I thought about different situations. Some people already have a proper dining area, and with just a few small changes, they can make it even better. But I also wanted these tips to work if you live in a tiny apartment or even a studio. Wherever you live, these ideas can help make your eating nook feel nicer. So let's get into it. The first thing is to define the space. You need a place that clearly says, this is where we are eating. If you already have a dining table, that's perfect. If you already have a dining areas, even better. But if you don't, there are still lots of ways to define one. I mean, you can use an area rug to define your dining space. You can hang a pendant light over it. You can use a bench. You can choose dining chairs that are different from the rest of your sitting. Even artwork nearby can help define that space. The goal is simply to make it feel intentional. Even if all you have is a kitchen countertop, you can still define that eating area with artwork, pendant lighting, or a few thoughtful styling choices. The most important thing is creating a space that feels like eating nook. Next, make the sitting comfortable. Whether it's dining chairs, bar stools, or a bench, people should actually want to sit there. If nobody wants to stay there for more than 20 minutes, it's not working. Comfort makes the whole eating experience slower, more relaxing, and much more enjoyable. Next is lighting. Honestly, it's always about lighting. I already mentioned pendant lights because they help define the dining area, but the lighting itself should also be warm. Warm lighting makes food look better, makes the space feel cozier, and completely changes the atmosphere. Even if you already have a pendant light, you can layer your lighting with adding a nearby table lamp with a warm bulb. Depending on the space, a floor lamp can also work beautifully. And of course, candles are always a great idea because they're another source of warm lighting. And another tip that I absolutely love is to keep the table ready. If you have to completely set the table every single meal, eventually you're going to stop doing it. Instead, leaving the basics there all the time. Placemats, a small centerpiece, salt and pepper, maybe olive oil, candles, a vase. When you walk by, it should immediately feel like a space that's actually being used, not just decorated. It should feel alive. Another thing that matters is a scale. If you are living alone or there are only two of you, you probably don't need a giant dining table just because you might have guests once in a while. On the other hand, if you have a tiny table surrounded by 6 chairs, that's probably not the right scale either, especially in a small apartment. Choosing furniture that's proportional to your everyday life makes a huge difference. Another thing to think about is the view. When you are eating, what are you looking at? A blank wall? Then maybe add some artwork. A pile of Amazon boxes, a stack of clothes? Then it's probably time to declutter. Your eating nook should look at something that makes you feel calm. A beautiful window, artwork, shelving, plants, a beautiful light fixture. Whatever it is, it should make you want to stay there. Your view shouldn't be a sink full of dirty dishes. Don't overcrowd the space either. If you have a small table, you don't need dozens of candles, giant centerpieces, oversized bowls, or too many accessories. Keep it balanced. Then let's talk about texture, because texture is really important. A tablecloth, a linen runner, placemats, seat cushions, or simply pay attention to the fabric of your dining chairs. Adding different texture makes the whole space feel warmer and much more inviting. Now, let's talk about the styling details that makes a huge difference. Fresh flowers always make a space feel better. If not flowers, even a small plant works. Candles instantly create a warm atmosphere. Cloth napkins seriously elevate every meal. I know they sound impractical, but they're washable, and if you care about these little details, they really make a difference. Also, don't save your beautiful dishes only for holidays or guests. Use them every day. Another favorite tip of mine is keeping a bowl of lemons or fresh fruit on the table. It instantly adds life to the space. And you guys already know how I feel about technology around spaces like this, so no charging cables, no random electronics. And don't let your dining table slowly turn into a storage space. I really think just making a few of these small changes can completely transform your eating nook. Also, I want to talk about something funny that always happened at my house. Whenever I have guests over and we sit down at the table, the first thing they do is remove the vase. They're like, we want to see each other while we're talking. And honestly, I get it. But I don't think you always have to remove it completely. You can simply move it to one corner of the table where it doesn't block anyone's view. So my advice is this. Whatever you put on the table, style it in a way that doesn't stop people from seeing each other or having a conversation. And that's it for today's video. I hope this inspires you to create a beautiful eating nook, because I really think where we eat matters just as much as what we eat.